Welcome, brothers and sisters, to Praying Through the Psalter, a brief daily meditation upon the Psalms, the great prayer songs of the Bible. This is our 26th devotional as we turn today to Psalm 26. If you have your Bible handy, you may want to turn and open it to Psalm 26 with me. As we do so, let me remind us of the three key ways that we interpret the Psalms. First, we say that they are the prayers of Christ to us on earth, that we may make them our own and pray them back to Him. Secondly, the Psalms teach us how to pray. And thirdly, every psalm is messianic. That is, it brings us to see Jesus Christ. Today we turn to one of the many great psalms of King David, Psalm 26. Dr. Alan Ross, a professor of Old Testament at Beeson Divinity School, has written a magisterial commentary on the Psalms, and Dr. Ross, in his commentary on Psalm 26, tells us that Psalms 25 through 28 perhaps form a set of prayers during a particular time of David's life. It was one of the lowest points of his life. So Psalm 26, Dr. Ross says, most likely comes in the time when David's beloved son Absalom was attempting to kill his father and take over the throne of Israel. But it wasn't just Absalom who had turned against King David. If we remember the story from both the books of Samuel and Chronicles, we remember that Absalom had convinced many of David's key and trusted advisors and warriors to also turn against David. So with that background, as we join in praying Psalm 26, these words take on new resonance for us as David prays in verses 9 and 10 of Psalm 26. Do not sweep my soul away with sinners, nor my life with bloodthirsty men, in whose hands are evil devices, and whose right hands are full of bribes. And so Absalom had bribed many of David's trusted advisors to turn against him. So in that context, David cries out for God's help and for God's justice. And so the psalm begins with the context of David's confidence in God that He will hear his prayer. Why? Because as David prays in verse 1, vindicate me, O Lord, for I have walked in my integrity, and I have trusted in the Lord without wavering. And so David says that God will hear this prayer because David is seeking to match the way he lives, his life of faith, with his life of prayer and worship. Remember, we've said since Psalm number 1 that the entrance into prayer is obedience. And so David is saying, Lord, I've been obedient to you. Therefore, with integrity, I come and pray for your help in this time of trouble. The part of Psalm 26, though, that really, I think, captures my attention the most, and as you pray it and read it today, another part might capture your attention. For me, it's verses 4 and 5, where David prays, I do not sit with men of falsehood, nor do I consort with hypocrites. I hate the assembly of evildoers, and I will not sit with the wicked. And so David in Psalm 26 brings up this tension that every believer has. On the one hand, we are called to go into the world. We are called to fellowship with non-believers. We are called to be a light to sinners, to those who do not know God. We are called to witness to those who are pursuing lives of wickedness and evil. In other words, when Christians separate themselves too much from the world, they take with them their witness to Christ for the sake of others. But on the other hand, believers are never to consort with evildoers, never to love evil assemblies. In other words, the tension is to be in the world but not of the world. And so Psalm 26 says there is a necessary separation that believers need to have from others, so that as a believer they will not be tempted and drawn into the evil, but will always stand against it. This is one of the great teachings, I believe, of Psalm 26. But it is David saying, Lord, I trust in you. I trust in your justice. I trust, O Lord, as I walk in integrity, that you will hold all people accountable. It reminds us finally then of what James in his letter in the New Testament says in James chapter 5, verse 16. The prayer of a righteous person is very powerful. Until we come back together again, brothers and sisters, may the Lord bless you and keep you. May the Lord's face shine upon you, be gracious to you. May the Lord lift up his countenance upon you. And may the Lord give you his peace, his shalom, his joy. Amen.